I still see her face when I close my eyes. The way she looked at me that night, pleading for help that never came. It's been 3 months since Emma disappeared, and the guilt is eating me alive. I should have never left her alone.
Another round, come on, it's Friday night.
I don't know, I'm already pretty wasted.
The music pounded through the crowded bar as I watched my friend Emma sway slightly on her bar stool. We've been celebrating her new job, and what started as a casual drink had turned into a full night of bar hopping. By midnight, she could barely stand.
Just one more shot, then we can head out.
Fine, but this is the last one. I mean it this time.
I should have stopped her. I should have called it a night hours earlier. But I was having fun, and selfishly, I didn't want the night to end. The bartender slid 2 more shots our way, and Emma downed hers immediately, wincing as the alcohol burned her throat.
Whoa, the room is spinning. I need to sit down.
You are sitting down, Emma?
Oh, right. I think I need to go home.
Her words were slurring badly now. I checked my phone and saw 3 missed calls from my girlfriend. We'd been fighting lately, and I knew she'd be furious that I was out so late.
Let me just call you an Uber. You'll be home in 15 minutes.
No, leave me, please. I don't feel good.
Her eyes were unfocused, her makeup smudged. She grabbed my arm with surprising strength.
Promise you'll stay with me. Something feels wrong tonight.
I hesitated. My girlfriend was already angry, and if I didn't get home soon, it would just make things worse. Emma lived only a few blocks from the bar, in a safe neighborhood. She'd taken Ubers alone countless times before.
You'll be fine. The driver has a 4.9 rating. Look, I'll even track your ride on my phone.
Please, I just have a bad feeling.
I should have listened to her. Why didn't I listen?
Text me when you get home, okay? I promise you'll be fine.
I helped her into the Uber, a black sedan with tinted windows. The driver barely looked at us as Emma slumped into the back seat. I closed the door, waved goodbye, and watched the car disappear around the corner. That was the last time I saw her. My phone buzzed at 3:17 a.m., jolting me awake. It was a text from Emma's phone.
Something wrong, driver went wrong way, not home. Help.
I called her immediately, but the phone went straight to voicemail. I tried again and again, panic rising in my chest. I called the police, but they said they couldn't do anything until she'd been missing for 24 hours. I called the Uber company, but they couldn't give me information without a police report. By morning, there was still no sign of Emma. Her roommate confirmed she never made it home. The police finally took a report, but days passed with no leads. The Uber driver claimed he dropped her off at her address, but security cameras in her building showed she never entered. The driver's GPS data was mysteriously corrupted, showing only the beginning of the trip before cutting out entirely. 2 weeks after Emma disappeared, I received another text from her phone.
You left me. You promised you wouldn't leave me alone.
I nearly dropped my phone. I called the detective assigned to her case immediately.
We'll trace the signal, but don't get your hopes up. These messages are often automated or sent by someone who found the phone.
But I knew it was her. Somehow I just knew. A month passed. The police investigation stalled. Emma's parents put up missing posters all over the city. Her face stared at me from telephone poles and store windows, her smile a constant reminder of my failure. Then the dreams started. Every night the same nightmare. I'm standing in a dark hallway. At the end is a door, slightly ajar. I know Emma is behind it, but my feet won't move. I hear her voice, distant and echoing.
Why did you leave me? You promised.
I wake up drenched in sweat, my heart pounding. The dreams feel so real that I started to wonder if they were more than just manifestations of my guilt. What if Emma was trying to tell me something? I began retracing our steps from that night. I went back to the bar and talked to everyone who worked there. No one remembered anything unusual. I drove the route the Uber should have taken to her apartment. Nothing seemed out of place. Until I noticed a small side street I'd never paid attention to before. It veered off the main road about halfway between the bar and Emma's apartment. Something pulled me toward it, an instinct I couldn't explain. The street led to an industrial area with abandoned warehouses. Most were boarded up, but one had a chain-link fence with a gap just big enough for a person to slip through. I parked my car and approached the fence, my heart racing. Inside the warehouse, the air was thick with dust and the smell of mold. Sunlight filtered through broken windows, casting long shadows across the concrete floor. I called out Emma's name, my voice echoing in the emptiness. In the far corner, something caught my eye. A small object, reflecting the light. I moved closer and felt my blood turn to ice. It was Emma's phone, the screen cracked, but still intact. I picked it up with trembling hands. The battery was dead. I rushed home and plugged it in, praying it would still work. After a few minutes, the screen lit up. There were dozens of unsent text messages in her outbox, all addressed to me.
He's taking me somewhere else. Please help. I'm in some kind of warehouse. I can hear water nearby. There are others here. I can hear them crying. He says this is punishment for being alone. Says friends shouldn't leave friends. He knows you. Says this is a lesson for both of us. I'm so cold. Why did you leave me?
The last message was dated just 3 days ago.
I'm still here. Find me before it's too late.
I called the detective immediately and showed him the phone and messages. This time, they took me seriously. They traced the phone's GPS data and found it had been in that warehouse for weeks before I discovered it.
We'll search the area thoroughly, but I have to warn you. After this much time, we need to prepare for the worst.
I couldn't accept that. Emma was alive. She had to be. The messages were recent. I joined the search parties, combing through every abandoned building in the area. Days turned into weeks, with no sign of her. Then, exactly 3 months after Emma disappeared, I received a text from an unknown number.
You want to find me? Come alone. Same warehouse, midnight. Tell no one, or you'll never see me again.
I knew I should tell the police, but the thought of losing any chance of finding Emma was unbearable. I decided to go alone just as the message instructed. The warehouse looked different at night. Moonlight cast eerie shadows through the broken windows, and every sound echoed ominously. I used my phone's flashlight to navigate through the debris.
Emma, are you here? It's me.
A soft sound came from behind a stack of old crates. I moved toward it slowly, my heart pounding in my ears.
Emma?
You came.
The voice was barely a whisper, but I recognized it immediately. I rushed forward, shining my light toward the sound. What I saw made me stop in my tracks. Emma sat on the floor, her back against the wall. Her once vibrant face was gaunt, her eyes sunken. Her clothes hung loosely on her frame. But she was alive.
Oh my God, Emma, I'm going to get you out of here. I'm calling an ambulance.
No, no phone? He'll know.
Who did this to you?
He said friends shouldn't leave friends. He wanted to teach us both a lesson.
I moved closer, reaching out to help her up. That's when I noticed the chain around her ankle, bolted to the floor.
I'm going to get you out of these, just hold on.
He's coming back. He always comes back at midnight.
I heard footsteps behind me, heavy and deliberate. I turned around slowly, my flashlight beam landing on a tall figure standing in the shadows.
You finally came for her. Took you long enough.
The voice was familiar, too familiar. As the figure stepped into the light, I felt the blood drain from my face.
But you're...
The Uber driver? Yes, but I'm more than that. I've been watching both of you for a long time.
He moved closer, and I could see his face clearly now. It was the bartender from that night, the one who had served us those final shots.
You see, I have a simple philosophy. Never leave your drunk friends alone. It's dangerous out there. Bad things happen to good people when they're abandoned by those who should protect them.
He pulled something from his pocket. The glint of metal caught in my flashlight. Beam.
I've been teaching Emma this lesson for 3 months. Now it's your turn to learn.
I lunged for Emma, desperate to free her from the chain. The man moved with surprising speed, blocking my path.
You don't understand. You're not here to rescue her. You're here to join her.
I felt a sharp pain in my neck. My vision blurred and my legs gave out beneath me. As I collapsed to the floor, I heard Emma's voice, distant and fading.
I told you not to leave me alone that night. Now, neither of us will ever be alone again.
I woke up in darkness, my head pounding. Cold metal bit into my ankle. I could make out Emma's silhouette across from me, watching silently. In the dim light filtering through a high window, I could see other figures too. Slumped against walls, some moving slightly, others completely still. I now understand what Emma meant in her texts. There are others here. People who were left alone when they shouldn't have been. People whose friends broke their promises. He visits us daily, bringing just enough food and water to keep us alive. He reminds us of our failures, of the sacred bonds of friendship we violated. Sometimes he brings new people, disoriented, frightened souls who made the same mistake we did. I don't know how long we've been here now. Days and nights blur together. Emma rarely speaks anymore. Sometimes I hear her whispering to herself in the dark. If you're listening to this, remember, never leave your drunk friends alone. Not even for a moment. Not even if they insist. They'll be fine. Because somewhere in this city, there's a man who's watching, waiting for you to break that promise. And when you do, he'll be there to teach you the same lesson he taught us. And the worst part? Deep down, I know we deserve it.